What's up, guys? Here to make a follow-up video on the random material from array in Unreal Engine 4. And I'm making this video because Edward asks, he says he has a large mesh with 56 materials. Whew! That's a lot of material elements there. So he wants to know, how would he use this method to color in his mesh? Well, let's just jump right in. I've already come in here and made a whole bunch of materials. I just made different colors, and they have different, like this one has no roughness or no metallic. This one, the number 2s will be, I can just open them. No roughness, no metallic. This one is no metallic, all rough. And this one is all metallic and no roughness. So we got 3 variant materials here. Alright. Well, I come in here and I created a sphere. And then I assigned a different material to each one of these. And then I clicked create static mesh, and this created my static mesh with 32 material elements, as you can see here. And I've changed them all back to world grid. Then, whoa, okay, I'm apparently highlighted on those materials. I thought I was clicked onto this, but obviously not. Cancel. Okay. I'm on it now. There we go. Okay. So we took this and we asset actions. We created a blueprint using this asset, and we just named it and created this blueprint here. What's this? Alright, go to the event graph. First of all, actually, I created a whole bunch of arrayed materials. So just hit new variable, name it, blah blah blah. Yes, material. Here's material, the object reference. Click this here and select the grid box for array, and then you gotta compile to add them, and you just add them, select your materials, so on and so forth. Alright, so I did that for every one of the different colors that I did, obviously. And I did one with all materials, except for I only did it with the first one of all the materials, because there's a lot of, there's 16 materials, as there's 32 sides to my sphere, so I had to double them up on some of them. But anyway, so we come in here, and the first thing I did after I created all my material arrays is I created change colors function, and this function I took and I added an input, this selected integer, and I named it mat element index, so material element index, and then I pulled off of here and just did switch on int. So switching on the integer, then I added several pins. Added 32 pins, so all the way to 31, 0 to 31, which is all the material elements that we have, which can be shown within the mesh. Element 0 through 31. Alright, so it'll change all those. but on my static mesh in here, which starts blink. Alright, so, and then for each integer it switches on, I created a new function right here, create function called set color. And on set color, I then added two inputs, one being a material array and the other being the element index, an integer. I'm gonna click on this to make this an array. Okay, anyway, in here I did like my other video, you know, last index plus 1, then we do a random integer, then we do a get off of the array, and we plug that into the max of the get, or we plug that into the defined array to get. Well, I don't know how to say it, but anyway. And we set material. We use the input of element index. So that will be which one you're changing, and then puts in the material from the get, and it's obviously targeted to the static mesh. Here, let's drag that out and static mesh. Boom. And that's all for set color. So you can see everything. Alright, and we go back to change colors. We haven't finished that yet. Alright, and for each one of these set colors coming off of the switch, we need to plug in, what I did is I plugged in each one of these so that each single element will switch between the 3 different colors I made of the same type color. So element 0 will switch between all the reds, and 1 will switch between blues and greens, and so on and so forth. As you can see, I just drug each one of these out and put them on here. And the material element index comes from the input on each one. Always comes from the material index. I doubled them up so it just repeats because I only have 16 different ones. So after 15, 0 to 15, it repeats 16 through 31. So this is the same, just copy pasted. I could have plugged them in, but it was getting jumbled and you couldn't really read it. So I duplicated. Anyway. And then I created I come in here and I type add custom event. And add custom event, and then I renamed it to code change event. Then I did a for loop. Alright, first index 0, last index was 31. As to match up with the material elements that are on our mesh. And loop body says change colors, so it does a my function of change colors. Alright, so back to the event graph, and you plug in the index here. So as it loops, it'll go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it'll get all the index. And then when it gets to here, it'll switch on it and go to the correct one. And when completed, it print string says changed colors. Pretty simple. And then on event begin play, I called set event. Code change event. It's called here. Alright. And we'll get to this stuff down here in just a moment. just see what that does right now. And what that does is it changes everything to different colors. See, starts off uncolored, and boom, and basically it'll be the same in each slot every time I do it. But you can see as the blue is metallic blue right there. But when I come back into it, it may not be. It may be one of the other blues. Still metallic blue. Let's try again. Still metallic blue. We got a flat blue. Oh, there we go. There's a flat blue. So now you can see each one of these is randomized. It'll always be that same color. Just one of the three that I made for that color. And the top half and the bottom half are the two that repeat. And of course I made it roll. Alright. By just checking simulate physics on my static mesh component. Come down here and simulate physics into the physics block. Make it wrong. Anyway, I'm going to take it a step further because I wanted to be able to change all the colors. So I made this all materials, obviously, which contains one. They're all the roughness one, where they're not rough at all. They're shiny. Anyway, so I made another event. It's just a duplicate of this. Does the same thing, loops through, but instead of going to change colors, I just automatically do set colors and plug my all materials array, because all this is really doing is dictating which array to use, because I'm using a different array for each element because I want different materials, say, for each element of the mesh. And then so all I had to do is set color. So it plugs that array in, plugs the index in, and set color. And then to call it, I created a blueprint interface by just right clicking and going to blueprints and then blueprint interface, and click that and rename it. You open it up, creates you a function. I named the function change color sphere. Anyway, and then you go to your class settings inside your actor, and you go to implement interfaces here and you click the add button, and you'll add API interact, which is what I named it, so that's what it's named. Anyway, name anything you want, and then I called the event change color sphere. I just type in change color sphere. You don't want the interface call, you want the event change color sphere under that event. And then I made that call the second event that I made. And in order for all that to work, I had to go and use this just a third person template. So I went into my third person, and then I created, also added an input. Added an input by going to your class setting, your settings and project settings, and input, and added change color. I made it F. Just click the add, type it in, select which key you want. Done. Alright, and then you can come here and you can go and put, and you just type change color, that'd work too, but there it is. Off of the pressed, I do a line trace by channel, using the cameras or location. Camera, pull it out and get world location, get forward vector. Start at the more location. You go to the forward vector times 1,000, so I'm going 1,000 out, 1,000 units out, and then you add the forward vector plus that times 1,000 to the world location, and then that is the end location. And we definitely want to ignore self because we don't want it to go through our body because we're third person, so therefore ignore self isn't on, it'll hit the mesh and never work. Anyway, and then we right click this, out hit, or no, we pull off of the out hit, and then we click break hit result, and that'll bring this, pull off the hit actor, and also the hit actor we just type in what we named it in, well, in our interface, which is change color sphere. It's a message. I'll pull that up, and then I made a branch off of whether or not we hit something. Simple trace effect, and if it did hit something, then we do that on hit after. And you should probably even take this a step further and do it's valid. I don't know if that'll do anything, but whatever. Just to make sure you don't access none there. Still might try to access none. Anyway, not the point of this tutorial. So you go over here, now I can change the colors of everything. It's completely random of what colors it gets because it goes to the other array. Woo. So, yep, that's pretty much it. It's same methods, I just added a little bit to it to make it to where you're able to use the, what do you call it? Let's go to our material element index, which is on set material function. No, set material node, and it's this by default. The previous one, it was just 0 because there was only one element. Alright. So basically just switching that. And I thought, you might not want it to be a big group going to all your different elements. 56 elements is quite a bit, and most likely they'll either be static, which if they are static, you just don't do this random integer thing. You don't even need the array, you just plug in which material it is, which for that matter you could go here and statically plug in which material you want, but whatever. Or you could do it here and statically do it here instead of getting it off the array. Just say, hey, this is the material, that's what I want on that index. This one's really the one that controls each different individual one, and you have to figure out which one is which, such as 0, I'm making it on the red materials, so if I go to this one, and I can change this to one of the colors, or I can change it to red, change it to blue. So this one will always be element 0. So this one's going to be the one that gets the red. And most likely, still, I really can't tell. It's kind of hard to tell, but I guess that one is the red. That's only 0 right there. So you just have to figure out which element's which, and then dictate which set of materials get assigned to that element. That's pretty much it. I think I covered everything. It's really not much different than the other one, other than you're controlling the element index. Alright guys, hope that helps you out. Edward. And happy coding, buddy. Alright, stop.